I see that look.
Fix my mic. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, right on. Welcome everybody to the Technical Steering Committee meeting for the Permissionless Software Foundation. Today is June 23rd. And yeah, Aaron, I can confirm I see us live on YouTube, so that's great.
All right.
My name is Chris Troutner. I helped found the Permissionless Software Foundation, and I maintain fullstack.cash, blockchain as a service. Let's go ahead and go around, do a quick introduction. Stoyan, you want to introduce yourself?
My name is Stoyan Zhekov, and I'm helping with maintenance of the JavaScript libraries for PSF.
My name is Aaron Shoemaker, and I'm working with the development program for the apprenticeship for the PSF and some of the front-facing business and some of those other things. So.
Nice. It looks like your castle is superimposed on my background. It's like a double background. That's kind of cool.
That must be going out. I don't think that's going out to YouTube, but that's
okay. I'll roll with it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and take a look at the agenda here.
All right. Let me pull that up.
Nice. Thanks, Aaron. So as always, the agenda can be found on GitHub under the Permissionless Software Foundation GitHub group under the TSC for Technical Steering Committee repository. And then we file the agendas as issues. And so this is issue number 11 for June 23rd. And these are links to well, here's the YouTube recording, and we'll also try and get an Odyssey link. But for those who are watching this later or want to send a link to someone later, we'll update these with the links. Yeah, so here's the agenda today. We're going to go over the updates to the PSF core software. And for people who are unfamiliar with what I mean by core, there's a link here to a blog post that talks about that. Then we'll cover some of the other areas of research, the JSON RPC over IPFS and pay to write database, and then just sort of miscellaneous stuff. At the end, Stoyan will give us an update on some of the NFT research that he's been doing. And for those who aren't regularly attending these meetings, the purpose of these meetings is really just to celebrate the technical victories that we've had over the last 2 weeks in between meetings. And they just sort of serve as a way to document the progress that we've made over each 2-week period. So I'll go through a lot of these agenda items fairly quickly. Aaron and Stoyan, feel free to interrupt me if you have questions or want more details on something.
All right.
The PSF core software is mostly concerned with the BCH API, REST API, which is the service that fullstack.cash offers, and then the BCH.js JavaScript library, which complements those services, and then the Gatsby IPFS web wallet, which is the front-end Gatsby theme that powers wallet.fullstack.cash. These are all open source projects that can be forked and used. We offer a paid service, but by no means do you have to pay to use them. We have free tiers and paid tiers, and everyone's free to run their own software. And we've been experiencing some pretty steady growth with fullstack.cash. Developers really appreciate the ability to just read one page of documentation and maybe some example code and hit the ground running. That's what we're all about. Our API requests last week exceeded 600,000 requests per day. And so being able to scale and stay ahead of the growth curve is something I'm heavily focused on right now. And Daniel, who couldn't be here today, one of our most active members, he's been working on some of the scaling tech. So I'm actually going to jump to this last item. The V5 route has been implemented in BCH API, and it's now used by default in BCH.js. And so if anybody is using BCH.js in a project, now is a really excellent time to update that, because the V5 route will allow us to continue to scale our infrastructure horizontally. And the V4 route, which is the older route that if you haven't updated your BCH.js in the last few days is what you're using, that we'll eventually have to sunset that probably in the next few months, and it will eventually start to suffer from scaling issues, because it can only like the technical nuts and bolts for those who are interested is it has to do with the fulcrum indexer, which is how you get address balances and UTXO information. The V4 route could only talk to one instance of that, and so the V5 route, it allows us to scale horizontally and have multiple instances of the fulcrum indexer running on our backend. Yeah, and so that's a technical reason for this version change.
So Chris,
Mhm.
Not to cut you off, if people wanted to change that, where would they go to change that? Do you want to demonstrate that? Maybe pulling up the config at fullstack.cash wallet.
Okay, can you hear me now? I accidentally muted myself. Most people who interact with the REST API directly, which is mostly just people who don't use JavaScript, they will need to explicitly update the V5 route. But I think the vast majority of users are using BCH.js, and so there's nothing required there. You just simply update a new version of BCH.js in your applications, so just like you'd update any dependency.
If I'm using wallet.fullstack.cash, will I need to update to the V5 route in the config settings?
It probably not, but let's go ahead and show that for people who want to be a little proactive. A lot of these web wallets, so if you're talking about geodrop.cash, if you don't already have a wallet, you won't need to worry about this. When you create a new wallet, it'll automatically update to the V5 route. Just like you see here. So I'm in wallet.fullstack.cash. I'm in the configuration tab. And then right here is where it's calling the V5 route. And that will happen automatically. If you're creating a new wallet, this will all happen automatically. If you have an existing wallet, you may need to go in there and manually update it, but we're not going to sunset the V4 route for a while. We don't even have a date set yet. So there's nothing immediate that anybody needs to do in terms of updating this. It's mostly just
nice for them to see it. And when I did it to my web wallet, I had to click on the plus button, which looks like you got a little bit of new styling on that. That looks nice. I had to click on the plus button and manually enter it. So for anybody that is going to do that, it's not just going to come down in the pop-up menu if it's an older wallet. So you just are going to have to click plus and manually enter it. Then you should be
just
fine.
to show it. Oh. All right, let's just show what you were talking about.
Going nuts.
Yeah. There we go. So you're talking about here. There's I think it might be off my screen because
I'll move you down so people can see this.
Oh, there, right here. This plus button right here.
Yep.
There. Yeah, so you'll add that, and then you can manually add a new route there. But yeah, again, we shouldn't spend too much time on that because I don't think anybody really needs to do that. At least not now. So that's the V5 route. It's worth mentioning. It's more of a victory for us because we are now prepared to scale. Bring on the traffic. Like if we 10x our traffic in the next few weeks, we could easily spin up the infrastructure to handle that. The other really big thing is the double spend proofs. This is a new feature that came out in the BCHN full node, and it's also in a couple other full nodes, I think Bitcoin Verde and Flowy. But it was implemented in BCHN during the last network upgrade last November. And to my knowledge, BCH API and BCH.js is the only implementation of it that's not, interacting directly with a full node. What these do is they're I hesitate to call it secure zero conf, but it's moving us in the right direction. So the idea here is what I would consider the canonical use case is a merchant would receive a transaction. They sell something and somebody pays them. They receive notification of a transaction, and then their wallet software would wait 3 to 5 seconds after receiving the notification, and then query that transaction ID that they get. They would query to see if that generated a double spend proof by calling this new endpoint that's available in BCH.js and BCH API. If it returns nothing, like no data comes back, then the transaction is safe to basically you can then safely give the customer their product or deliver the product. That this doesn't have to be a physical product. This is more than likely a digital product or service. And you don't have to wait for one confirmation. You can be about 98-99% confident that that's not a double spend and the transaction is going to be included in a block. However, if it does return data, that means that the transaction triggered a double spend proof. So it's essentially this proof that it is a double spend, and then as a merchant you can decide what to do at that point, like probably not give them the product or service. And so there are corner cases where this is a little sketchy to use, but for the vast majority of use cases, the vast majority of the time, this essentially gives the confidence that merchants need to do transactions using zero confirmation. So it's a big deal. Waiting for block confirmations is a huge bottleneck in the whole like mass adoption workflow that Bitcoin Cash is trying to achieve. So this is a big step in the right direction.
That's just awesome.
Yeah, so I'm excited for people to play with it. At this point, like, consider it wrapped with caution tape. Like it's fully functional, but it's sort of unknown what all the different corner cases are where this could be exploited. So this is officially like a sandbox for developers to play with, for entrepreneurs to explore. If this adds value to your use case, you should definitely check it out. So I'll just give a couple examples on this. So we're probably going to implement this on the token bridge, at least while we're still in the testing phases and there's not any significant money involved. But I probably will not implement this in the PSF token liquidity app, which is what lets you buy PSF tokens or sell PSF tokens, simply because the risk is too high, because that's an automated app. And if someone found a way to exploit this, it would they could do it, and it would take us a while to like detect that, and so the risk there is just too high for my taste. So that's an example of like maybe a scenario where you would use it and a scenario where you would not use it. It's definitely advantageous for merchants, like a point of sale terminal, or where you're buying coffee, or using it in a real world situation. That's where this double spend proof features is incredibly helpful.
Awesome.
Just to clarify, a lot of ignorance around this still. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it all. And then the last thing to mention in terms of the core software here is that Daniel updated Gatsby IPFS web wallet. Gatsby released a major version 3, and it just a lot of the dependencies needed to be sort of massaged to get it to work. So that's pretty cool. It's always great to keep our core software up to date. So that concludes the core software. We'll move on to just sort of the different areas of research that members are doing. I'm personally pretty excited about this JSON RPC over IPFS and the pay to write database. And I've been focused a lot the last couple weeks on the pay to write database. And for people who are trying to like understand what the pay to write database is, what its use case is, what problems it solves, just a high level understanding, I created a video that's linked here, and it's 12 minutes. I really encourage people to watch it just so that they can understand what is this pay to write database, what makes it valuable, why am I so passionate about it. And been making steady progress in sort of the research. I'm starting to get out of the R&D phase and more into the product development phase. So I've basically proven out the technology. I know it works, but now I need to write tests and I need to refine the code. And I spent the last few days learning the clean architecture design pattern that I'm going to apply to this, and which helps manage complexity over time. And so anyways, that's going on. I encourage people to check it out. I don't really need to spend much more time on that. It's there for anybody who's interested. And if anybody else gets interested in it and has questions, please reach out to me, because this is something I'm very passionate about. I'm working hard on, and I'd love to collaborate with other people on.
Right on.
So moving down to the sort of just miscellaneous projects, got a bunch of call outs, mostly for Daniel and Gary here. Gary Nadir has been our lead developer on the token bridge between Avalanche and the Bitcoin Cash blockchains. And he forked the SLP CLI wallet, which is a command line HD wallet for Bitcoin Cash. He forked that and created the AVEX CLI wallet. So it's same exact user experience, but on the Avalanche blockchain. And he updated the burn command so that now you can burn Avalanche tokens, just like you can burn SLP tokens on the Bitcoin Cash side. And he also added this right here. He also added a send all command, which is really nice, being able to just send all the Avalanche in your wallet to another address, like if you want to just get rid of that wallet. And but what's really exciting is he added this SLP AVEX bridge command. So if you have a token on the Avalanche blockchain, you can send it across actually you have to have a specific test token. It won't work for any generic token. But we have a faucet where you can get these test tokens if you want to play with this. But then if you have that token in your wallet, you can issue this command and it'll send the token across the bridge over to the Bitcoin Cash blockchain, and you'll see the token appear in the whatever address on the Bitcoin Cash side that you specify. And he's working on a similar command for SLP CLI wallet to send the token the other direction. So there's just a lot of people are interested in this token bridge. It's still, kind of a developer only thing. There's no graphical user interface still, but if people want to get their hands dirty and start poking at it and understand how this bridge works and how to interact with it, this is sort of a sneak peek.
Chris, do you know to which network it connects? To the testnet, to the mainnet, to the local node?
Yeah, it connects to the main net, and it's using their Ava Labs provides a public node. I think it's probably a load balanced, several nodes, but they have like a public, sort of like how Bitcoin.com used to have rest.bitcoin.com, or how we have, a free tier for fullstack.cash. It's a similar thing. They have direct access to a node that you can interact with. So that's what AVEX CLI wallet uses. It'll just automatically connect to that free public node.
Which of their network, what is this network? Like P something, X something?
Yeah.
Which one it connects to?
A good question. It's using the X chain. So for people who aren't familiar with Avalanche, there's three primary chains: the P chain, which is for platforms; the C chain, which is for smart contracts; and the X chain, which is more like Bitcoin with transactions. And there's the C chain, which is an EVM compatible, has ERC20 tokens. And then the X chain has tokens that are similar to like SLP tokens. The X chain operates very similar to Bitcoin Cash. So yeah, this bridge is primarily concerned with the X chain and the tokens on that chain. And there's also, I think, there's NFTs on both the X chain and the P chain. And now that's a new thing where you can move a token across from the X chain to the P chain, or to the C chain, I'm sorry, from the X chain to the C chain and back. So you can take they're called ANTs, an Avalanche native token. So ANT is like their acronym, like SLP stands for Simple Ledger Protocol Token. And they have a call now where you can move an ANT from the X chain and and generate an ERC20 token on the C chain and vice versa. So that's kind of cool. So when you combine all these bridges, it should be possible to take an ERC20 token on Ethereum, move it across the bridge to Avalanche C chain, convert that to a token on the X chain, and then send it across the bridge to Bitcoin Cash as an SLP token, and all the way back again. I'm really looking forward to the day when I can do that, like just to prove it out conceptually. That'll be really cool.
That's great. I think that would be so cool, and I'm excited about that as well. So
yeah, I mean, that's the direction everything's heading. That's the level playing field that all blockchains are heading towards.
that's awesome.
So another bug fix, message.fullstack.cash is, it's primarily geared towards this PSF community. And it's got a community feed where I've been posting links to these committee videos. It lets you send end-to-end encrypted email to any Bitcoin Cash address. And it also has a file upload feature that lets you pay 5 cents to host a file on the IPFS network. It's a really convenient way if you just want to get a file up on IPFS so that you can share it and you don't want to sign up or worry about hosting. It's just a very quick, simple, pay some money and your file's being hosted service. And there was a bug in there where, shout out to Shama Chancellor. He found this bug. He's good at finding bugs. He uploaded a file that had like an apostrophe in the text in the file name, and it just really threw the server for a loop. And once we eventually found the root cause, that's the bug that Daniel just fixed. Is now the server will detect file names that it can't parse, and it'll tell you that that's the problem. That was part of the problem. Is it was clearly having a bug, but we didn't know what was causing it, and we didn't know how to fix it. So now it presents a clear text message or clear error message to the user saying, your file name, I can't read your file name. I need you to change it for me, and then try uploading it again. So just a little more user help there. And one of the things that I think Daniel's going to be working on in this upcoming quarter is email notifications. So we have this ability to send end-to-end encrypted email to a Bitcoin Cash address, but then if you receive an email, you don't get any notification until you log into message.fullstack.cash and check your inbox. And so what we want to do is add a feature where you can add an email address where you want to receive notifications, and then when you receive a new encrypted message, it'll send you a notification to your email just saying, hey, you got a message waiting for you.
Maybe it's better to be not email address, but to be URL, so you can have a hook there. If you know these web hooks, you just make a post request to some URL, and there can be everything, like sending to email, sending to Slack, sending to whatever.
That's a really good idea, Stoyan.
Yeah, it will be more general, maybe.
Yeah, I think, for normal people, I think the email makes the most sense. But while we're building it, we might as well just add the webhook. That'll be a good time to do it, and it'll make it super flexible for, power users. That's a really good idea. Finally, just to wrap up a few things, at fullstack.cash, about halfway down the page, there's a section that's titled "What type of developer are you?" And that leads to 3 other pages for front-end developers, back-end developers, and library developers. There's been a ton of content added to those 3 pages, so I really want to encourage people to go there and check them out, give us feedback. Basically, a lot of people come into the space as a front-end developer. So the purpose of the front-end page is to just help you get started as fast as possible. And then same idea with the other 2 pages. You're coming from the background of a back-end developer. That back-end page is designed to help you get oriented as quickly as possible. Or if you want to build a library that sort of supercharge your app, or do some very specific thing like send an encrypted message, or do pass some sort of media over the blockchain. That's what the library section's for. It's here's how you craft your own little Lego blocks that interact with the blockchains and is compatible with our front end and back end software. And then finally, geodrop.cash, which is our example of a game that you can build with our wallet tools. That's fully functional now. That's been fixed. So if people want to sort of check it out, it's a map-based scavenger hunt game, and it's really it's an example of what you can build with some of our front end software. And I've had multiple entrepreneurs approach me with ideas that are very similar to the game. Like they're not the game that we built, but it uses all the tech that goes into the game. So that's really the point. Is it's a demonstration of what you could build with just some very common Lego blocks of software. And that's pretty much the agenda. Stoyan, I know you had some things on the. I'm gonna stop sharing, Aaron. You had some updates on your NFT research, and I'm keen to hear it.
Yes, yeah. Can I share a screen?
Yes, you should be able to. Chris, I made you a host because for some reason I'm on David's account, but it's telling me we got like 7 minutes left and to upgrade to Pro. I don't know what's going on with that. So you should be able to let Stoyan share the screen there. And let me pull Stoyan up, and I'm going to try to fix this while we do that. So
yeah, that sounds good. I'm not sure. I've had this happen to me before, and I don't know if I can stop that countdown. It may automatically stop, but sometimes it doesn't.
yeah, I'm gonna check. So, all right, Stoyan, your screen is shared, buddy. Go for it.
Okay. So there's like two main tasks I'm working on now. One is the BCH GS like extension library. It's still in my personal directory, but maybe on some point when it's useful enough, it can go to the permissionless software one. So like we thought on the last meeting, it will be good if we can pass ready BCH GS instance. So I've done this. So you create your usual BCH GS. You can use here tokens or something. Can you just pass it to this new extension? And you can start using some functions this extension provides.
Very cool. So yeah, if you compile this with Browserify now for front end, I'm sure it's just like a tiny little library because it doesn't have to have BCH.js included in it. So that's great.
So yeah, it was good, like nice way to continue. So it's in my main branch. And the other talk that we have previous week with Chris was about trying with this BCP, like payloads, which are on chain. So I extended this library. So now the usual call is like you just create a config with, this is the mostly required fields of the name of your group. No, this is the children token. So this is the group ID, the name of your child token, and the ticker. And you just pass this to the create NFT child call. So I extended a little this library. It's a different branch because it's still very unstable. So, but basically you just add this section payload to the config, which will contain the type of your payload. It can be video, audio, something like this one, and it will be the URL where your payload is stored. In this case, it's on IPFS.
Okay.
And you're using same call. So nothing changing, just adding this payload section, and you will have the new type of NFTs with BCP attached.
So is this information where is it going in the actual token? Is it going in the URL or the document hash?
I will show
or-
you from now.
Okay.
Be patient, Chris.
Okay. Okay.
Because yeah, it's very unexploited territory. I made a lot of experiments, not of them successful. So yeah, the question is like for the users, it's very easy. Just add this to the JSON, over. But for the blockchain, like saving, it's like very fuzzy territory, because this is trying to use multiply op returns, but it's mostly in the moment just talk. There's some implementation, but I don't see some really working stuff which is using it, and also was not sure how to do this with BCH.js. Maybe some other libraries already have it, but let me show you. For example, this function, this method that we call create NFT child. It's basically here getting this information from the JSON, and basically everything goes down to this transaction builder. So I was struggling how exactly to add this new op return, the second one, to this transaction builder. Like, for example, if it's usual SOP token, on the output 0, you just put this script, which you create with generate NFT something something, and you just put like some dust there.
Right.
And you're ready with the SOP. But I was experimenting. So, okay, this second one, where should I put it, this guy? Like, should I put it here after this guy and have the two dust transaction, or have one dust transaction with amount of two dusts, something. So it's, how to see, it's generate a lot of tokens with different structure.
So you're adding, I want to understand what you're doing here. You're adding a second op return. And just real quick, there's a countdown going. I don't know if this live stream is going to end in a minute or not, but we'll just,
if it does,
figure
we'll
it out
just
if it does.
restart.
Yeah.
I am buying my own right now to upgrade. So
well, it's weird is like, the countdown should have stopped when you made me a host, but I guess it didn't.
I don't know what's
You
going
should
on.
wait for a while and see what happens.
If anything, I'd say, Chris, just restart Zoom from your end, and I'll put a waiting screen up, and then we'll just fire it back up. So.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we need to do the recording, but I definitely want to keep this conversation going. And I will put a new Zoom link in the Telegram channel. But yeah, Storian, so I just want to clarify, you're creating a second op return in the transaction. So a second op return output, and you're putting this data in that op return.
Yes.
Can you create the token?
Yes.
Okay.
And and so finally, after several experiments with this stuff, the one that was more undisturbing the current infrastructure was to add this again as output 1, and again to be one output with the script, which is like I'm creating with my library, which is one op return, and to put, how to see, to attach
All right, for those who are on YouTube, we are just waiting, having some complications with Zoom. We are going to get back on in just a second. I hope you've enjoyed what we're talking about so far. A lot of really, really cool stuff that we're doing. Some of the cool stuff that Storian's doing, getting NFTs working. Let's see here. We got a new Zoom meeting. I'm opening it up, and we're going to get it piped over. All right. So I'm just waiting for Chris to let me in. And once he does let me in, we're going to get back. All right. I got Chris. You like my new setup?
Yeah, the TVs are pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it'd be fun. So we gotta wait for the other guys and then we'll get them in here. So let me go ahead and adjust you. Chris. So we are back on those on YouTube. Really cool stuff that Stoyan's talking about there, Chris.
Yeah, I'm hoping he pops up here because I think this second op return is a really interesting hack, and I think it's a nice complement to the mutable data specification that we've been talking about.
Yeah. So I know that a lot of people out there are concerned or have concerns with here, there's your face. All right. I know that a lot of people have concerns with the amount of information being written to a blockchain. And that's part of the reason that we're talking about the pay to write database, right? Is trying to solve this problem. Is writing to a second op return going to be a conflict there?
Well, this gets back to the age-old idea of spam on the blockchain. What is spam? And if you pay for it, is it really spam? That's really the paradox there. And so the rules let you put in another op return, and you got to pay for it when you make the transaction. So you're playing by the rules.
Sometimes I go to the store and I pay for spam. Actually, I never do, but it comes in a can. That's my dad joke for the day. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So I mean, I don't know what like in 10 years from now, we may very well feel differently than we do today.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've always had these arguments of the block size was a huge argument, and now I'm buying an 8 terabyte drive for like $120, and I've got a 2 terabyte NVMe M2 drive that's cost me $300 and has a read write speed of like 4,000 megabits per second, like crazy, and that's only getting better. In the 360 field, I've Candeo just released a 12K camera, and they got a specialized SD drive. Get this, 22,000 megabits per second write speed.
Wow. Yeah. The issue with spam on the blockchain, this is where the argument starts to get confused, is it's not so much about how much space the blockchain's taking up. It's how much do you have to pay to run a node in the cloud. Because like the thing is like all these apps that deal with NFTs, all the things real users want to use, they require cloud infrastructure. They can't if you're running a full node on a Raspberry Pi in a shed on your property, that's great, but you can't run a production application with that as your backend. And so you don't get to leverage these really cheap hard drive prices. Really, what makes this either prohibitive or not to operate an app that has a good user experience is what is the cost of running a full node in the cloud. And so basically what you're doing is like the Bitcoin Cash blockchain's around 200 gigabytes right now. And so whether you're getting value out of the data that's in that 200 gigabytes or not, you still have to pay to host that in the cloud. And so it's this cloud hosting cost because you need it to be, not just performant, but, like basically available to the cloud. So it doesn't matter how cheap a hard drive is that you can get, for your home use. That doesn't affect that. That's why that's one thing that people say, like, oh, the size of the blockchain doesn't matter because hard drive space is so cheap, and that's missing the point. The point is like this has to run in the cloud, and that's the cost that matters, not how cheap you can buy a hard drive off of Amazon.
See, that is a great point. And I think you're right. A lot of people don't get that sort of thing. And all right, we got Stoyan back in. Let me get him set up. And let's see here. Stoyan, can you hear us?
It shows that he's muted.
Yes. Sorry. Today I'm on my other computer, so I needed to transfer the Zoom link because I don't have Telegram here very well. Some other account. So yeah, sorry for disturbing the flow.
It's been a disturbed morning. We're all disturbed.
Yeah. It's one of those days, man. It's one of those days. Let me
Should I share the screen again? Or
yeah,
I might need to turn that on. Yeah, okay, you should be able to share now.
And boom, you are sharing.
yeah, so so with these experiments, like some of them created tokens that looks good but not so good. Like you can see here, the balance is 0, so not very successful. The good one, the current one that I told you with the 2 scripts following immediately of the dust output, it's creating pretty nice not this one. I need to maybe click on this one.
So you're taking a group token and you're generating a child NFT from it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So you can see the first op return here, which is the SOP one. And you can see the second one here, which is my BCP payload. They are pretty nicely parsed by this electron cache. And these tokens looks a little strange on the Explorer. You can see the transactions are unparsed address. And if you see the information inside, it's pretty valid SOP op return, the first one. And the second one is my BCP op return. So information is there on the blockchain, but it's still very, let's see, this Explorer, for example, it's choosing to show the second op return here, which is the BCP, not the SOP one. And that's why I think it's mistaking also here. It does not get it that it's SOP. So maybe if I, but no, I'm not sure. If I switch the output, would it show properly?
Well, if you swapped them, the op returns, then that would not be a valid SLP transaction. The SLP specification requires the first op return to have the SLP information.
So it's just displaying problem, not these tokens are validated, so they're valid BSOP, SOP. But one more problem, for example, is if I send this token to somebody, like I already have it in my wallet here, but if I send this guy to somebody, the second op return will be lost because the send does not understand that there is second op return, but it will still. So every time when you send such kind of tokens and you decide to display it, you need to go every time to the Genesis transaction to get the second op return from there to show it, which is a little pain, but.
Right, but that actually fits in really nicely with the way, so like when you call the hydrate a UTXO call, for instance, it has to go get the Genesis data because that's the data that has the ticker name and the most importantly the decimals, so that you can figure out like what the decimal precision of this token is. That's in the Genesis data, like that. You can't, you don't know what the decimal precision is just by looking at the transaction of a token, of a send transaction. So you have to go get that data from the Genesis transaction anyway. So I really like what you've done here. But yeah, this is the thing, is when they rolled out that multiple op return change, no one really knew what the side effects were going to be.
Like, it's
and so very, like, the Explorer.
So yeah, but for BCP GS, this way it's creating valid tokens. The information is on chain. You can send these guys. They will be visible in pretty much every wallet. So it's maybe just one step to display this second op return, and it were ready to go.
Yeah. So this is I think this would be a really good complement to that mutable data specification, because that specification was created, before multiple op returns were allowed. Mm-hmm. And so the idea was you basically do you take the same information and you capture it by creating a transaction and putting that transaction in the document hash. But you sort of like what you're doing here, I think, is much simpler, certainly a much simpler implementation, and it would be much simpler for a wallet to retrieve the data this way. And it would reduce the number of API calls. So that's really good. So yeah, I really like, but it's also specific to being able to have multiple op returns. So for example, any protocol built around this would not work on the eCash blockchain. Whereas if we stuck to the spec that is on the document hash, that would work on both blockchains. So I think we should do both. I think if we had it this way as like an optional, what you did here, having a second op return in the Genesis transaction, we can make that like an optional implementation or Bitcoin Cash specific implementation. And
it can combine my previous attempt, which was to have BCP transaction ID inside the document hash. So for the eCash chain, it can be in this way. Just you need another transaction with just op return data and put inside the SOP the transaction ID to this payload transaction. So
yeah, I like them both. I mean, yeah, it's just a trade-off. Like I honestly, I think the way that you did it here is more efficient. It would reduce the number of API calls. It would be much easier to write software to look up the data this way. And yeah, so this is really interesting. I hadn't done, this is a good test too, because as far as I know, no one has tested a Genesis transaction with multiple op returns. I know the sends work, and it would make sense that the Genesis works. So it's really good work here that you've done, Storian, to show like how to do it properly and how not to do it.
yeah. So yeah, it's how to see. The library is on GitHub. So if everybody is free to experiment with their own like discoveries.
Yeah.
So this was the first project, this BCHGS extension library. And the second one was the command line wallet. So I forked SOP client wallet, and using this same library, I add some new functions.
Nice.
So you can see I have here a bunch of NFT related functions, and the problem here was that like we know this wallet is multi addresses. If you remember, we thought about this. It's pretty much you can get many addresses with this get address. So I decided the first to work with it like a single wallet, adding index parameter to every one of these codes to show it exactly in which wallet are my stuff. So to show this one, first you need to know what addresses you have now. So you just list your addresses, and the name of my wallet is NFT. And see, I add also some fancy stuff here, some animation.
Cool.
Keep you busy until you're waiting for the
yeah. That's great.
Yeah, and you can see I now have two addresses here, and one have no tokens and one have tokens.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So you can see the list of the tokens. they're visible here, in fact, because this wallet have this by default. So you can see there's some stuff, but you can use also this list token. And again, there's the several parameters. Oops, like minus what was tokens help. So you can list only the groups if you want, because like if you show this inside, for example, the full stack wallet, you need first maybe only the groups, and when you click on some group, you will see them all.
Mm-hmm.
And the second important was this index, because like you see here are two wallets. So I will just use index one to show what is inside this thing, because only there is tokens.
Mm-hmm.
So the name was NFT and the index is 1. And we can see there's this BCP child guy.
Nice.
Which I created here. So the other, yeah, pretty obvious. You can create.
Man, this is great stuff.
Yeah. So maybe you can create group. Oops, not maybe. What is this? Create this one. So it's my usual things that will help you populate this JSON file and send it to the call. So it's group name, stuff like this one. And same with the child one.
Nice. Dude, I definitely want to pull this code into the main SLP Client wallet repository. This is really useful stuff.
Yeah, it will be a little, how to see, what I want to fix now is if it's possible to use BCH inside all wallets. So I can pay for the transactions from all the wallets, because in the moment it's a little non-convenient. I need always to have BCH inside this wallet with the token.
So I don't know if it's in the main line or if it was one of the sort of prototypes I built to explore something, but I think that there's like if you do help, I think I saw it, there's a sign message call. And yeah, there's a sign message call, and there was something I was doing. It might be the get key. I think if you call the get key command and then you look at the wallet file, the actual JSON file that it generated for the wallet, there's a property in there where it's doing what you're doing with the index, where it'll be like, this is the index that I'm using to sign messages, so that you're not like randomly signing. You're not signing a message with a random address in the HD wallet. You basically tell it like this is the address that I want to sign messages with. And so you could do that same thing with these NFTs, where you could be like, this is my NFT address, and I'm going to put some money, I'm going to put some Bitcoin Cash in that address to pay for transaction fees. And, all my NFT work is just going to use this one address.
Okay, I will check these methods.
Yeah, I will too, because I'm going off of a fuzzy memory, and I don't know if that's actually how it's implemented here. I know I implemented it at one time, but I don't know if it made it into the main line.
Yes, so this was all progress on this.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I'm so thrilled to see you using the Cly wallet, because that's exactly what it's there for. It's rapid prototyping, and those are awesome commands. I mean, especially working with NFTs, that's going to help so many developers, just do what they need to do to prove out a concept, and then we can worry about a graphical user interface later.
Yeah, it's become now pretty easy. I created several groups and tokens. It's pretty obvious now how to create new NFTs.
So is that code's in your personal GitHub repository?
I will post it there today
Yeah.
or tomorrow morning, maybe, because I was still looking around some stuff. But yeah, it's ready to be shown. It's not something fancy.
Very cool. Yeah, if you object, I definitely want to pull those NFT commands into the master branch of SLP Cly wallet.
It will be maybe good to, I don't know how to do this, to have like some way to enable dangerous commands on the SOP wallet. Like usual, people just start it and there's these commands. But if you add something, it will also allow other commands. Like this one, experimental.
Like an advanced mode or experimental
Something
mode.
like this one, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that could just be an environment variable, or it could be another command,
like
which is like, change mode, and then, normal or experimental.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden more commands pop up in that help menu.
Yes, this will be good because maybe some people just want the regular one. Some people want to go around and do dangerous stuff.
No, that's a good point. I mean, I assume if you're working on a command line, you're already like living dangerously. Maybe that's not a good assumption.
Maybe no, because it's pretty it's pretty useful, like a tool. Everybody, not only developers, can use it. So regular people's always asking questions how to do this with client wallet. So they just will need regular commands. So they also can benefit from this too.
So we do have about 6 people watching live on YouTube right now, and one person wrote in the chat, and Coldeep Grewal, I hope I'm saying that name right, awesome, with an exclamation point. So we shout out to Coldeep. If you're in the Telegram channel, hit us up.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad that we're getting more people watching this. I'm glad you were able to save the live stream there, Aaron. I just kind of assumed we stopped streaming, but good to know.
No, that's because Zoom is separate from the live stream that's going out from OBS. So I was able to just talk to everybody online. That's probably why they're here, to see my pretty face.
Well, I'm stuck inside of this TV. I can't get out.
Yeah. Stoyan's an old one from the 80s.
I'm also on TV. Nice. Yeah. It looks like my TV in Bulgaria. It was like 30 years old Russian technique.
Yeah. I found some PNGs online. I thought I'd slap them over for a good time.
That's awesome.
So, Stoyan, that's awesome, man, that you're creating that stuff. And really, really cool to see the multi-op return thing. And Chris, you're right. It's probably a Bitcoin Cash thing, since Bitcoin Cash has the multi-op return. Who knows if eCash is going to want to use that or not. But the mutable protocol could probably work on the eCash thing as well. So those of you that are watching, we got Coldeep replied, will do. And Michael Afidius, I'm sorry, I'm butchering your last name, man. Love the tools you guys are working on. Can't wait to play with the Cly wallet. And Aaron, that's a nice name, buddy. Garen, sir, it's like old school MTV look with the TVs. All right. People are liking it. We just gained 2 new viewers, so obviously the TVs are working for us.
Awesome. So, well, if anybody is wondering what we mean by the Telegram channel, go to psfoundation.cash, scroll to the bottom, in the footer, there's a link to our Telegram channel. So that's where we all hang out, and that's where you can ask questions.
Throw up the lower third there at the bottom of the screen. Yeah. So go to psfoundation.cash. You can check out the Telegram and join and talk to us. We really want to hear from you. So, all right. Cool. Yeah, very, very, very cool stuff. Fun to play with the Cly wallet. I haven't got to do that lately. I've been diving into Mocha Pro and some editing software for other stuff, but I want to get back on that. And once you have that code up, Stoyan, I definitely want to check it out, because that's really cool. So
yeah, and I'm so glad that you took this initiative with the Cly wallet, Stoyan, because I think what we can do easily move forward is pull your code into the master branch, and then from there it'll be really easy to for me to like code up an implementation of the mutable data,
Mhm.
and then we can start to work on combining these ideas
Mhm.
without having to worry about a graphical user interface, which is just getting the raw data on the blockchain where it needs to be. And then that'll let us sort of collaborate, on some of these ideas around NFTs and different media formats and the mutable data specification. And once we get it kind of hashed out on the command line, then we can worry about creating a plugin for wallet.fullstack.cash to actually display this stuff, for normal people.
Yeah,
Okay.
totally.
Let's do this.
And for anybody that is watching that wants to be a part of some of this stuff, if there are a few places you can start. Number one, read Mastering Bitcoin Cash, and that is on the fullstack.cash website. That's fullstack.cash. Let's throw up the lower third there.
On the documentation page, so / documentation.
Mm-hmm. So go through that, read that, and download the Cli wallet, the SLP Cli wallet. Create a token from the command line and send it to us. And I'll go ahead and I'll drop in an SLP address. Unless, Chris, if you want to put yours, I'll just put one of mine.
I'll go ahead and put yours, and I don't have one handy.
And I will drop this into the chat for anybody as well on the Telegram. Oh, geez, that's long.
And it's hidden by part of the TV. That's hilarious. It's like it's over one TV, but it's under the other TV.
I need to go and move the lower thirds to the top. There we go. All right.
Need we to remember this now or what?
Right.
I want you to memorize it all right now.
Okay.
So the easy one is go to our Telegram channel and ask and tag Aaron.
Yeah. Tag me, talk to me. If you can create a token and send it to me, that's a good place to start. We're starting this certification program, and that's one of the first parts. And then we want to move people into an apprenticeship program where you're getting paid and you're working. But first things first, you got to show us you can do some of this stuff. Storian's still showing us.
No, I created, my first job was to create a token. I still have it, I think. And I received I received the Chris token in return.
Oh, the trap token.
Yeah. I'm proud owner of some of them still. Hold link.
I've got a few Shoemaker 1 tokens that I had the idea of giving to my kids to incentivize them to do chores around the house, but they don't want to do chores.
We created with my son our own token, Falcon token. You like falcons?
Cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, see, Aaron, I think what you should do is create the cookie token, and then you can pay your kids in cookie tokens, and they can exchange a cookie token for a cookie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
Yes. They more sugar. That's what they need.
You have to, you have to tokenize the sugar.
Yeah, tokenize the sugar. Jeez. Yeah. So, anyways, anybody that is watching now, hit us up in Telegram, create an SLP token from the Cli wallet and send it to us. And, a good place to store that SLP token is wallet.fullstack.cash.
Mm-hmm.
Your non-custodial online web wallet. So
one of the only ones that supports NFT tokens.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I've lost an NFT token sending it to a non-supported wallet before. Mm-hmm. So, but bear in mind, don't keep a lot of money on it. It is a web wallet, so don't put your life savings in a web wallet.
And write down your 12 words. We don't promote that enough.
Yes, write down your 12 words. Do it. And preferably write down your private key as well. And check it front to back. Now, a lot of people don't do that either. It's really easy to mess things up. Always check it backwards and forwards, and especially with your mnemonic, your seed, your 12 words. So
yeah, spell check doesn't work on mnemonics, so make sure you spell each word correctly.
Yeah. Write it clearly for yourself in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah.
Yeah. What word is this again? So,
All right. Well, yeah, it's been about an hour. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. It's been a great meeting. Lots of successes the last couple of weeks. We got more stuff coming down the pike. And yeah, making pretty steady progress on that pay to write database. And I just really can't emphasize enough. I really want people to go check that out. And it's live. You can interact with it. You have to burn a PSF token in order to write data to the database. So that's kind of the coolest thing. And it's 0.01, so every one PSF token gives you 100 writes. But yeah, I'm looking forward to improving that and making it a little more robust, and starting to develop some of the on-chain interfaces for it, so that on-chain apps can write and read directly to the database.
you said the data's capped at 10 kilobytes right now?
Mm-hmm.
So one PSF token would gives you 100 writes, so it gives you 1,000 kilobytes.
About a megabyte.
Megabyte. Yeah. Cool. And so right now, what are we sitting at? 50 cents, 40 cents for a token?
Yeah, we're hovering
Yeah.
around 50 cents. I think it's
Yeah.
closer to 40, but
And so for that amount, you can write a megabyte to the blockchain, and think about it as a semi-permanent way of writing. You know, you're not exactly etching things in stone, but you're also not writing them down on a cocktail napkin either. So,
well, yeah. So I mean, I'll let the intro video speak for itself, but yeah, it's just an interesting idea because it's similar to a blockchain.
yeah,
It's the 10 kilobytes is, that you can only write 220 bytes to the opportune in a Bitcoin Cash transaction. And I believe that requirement is enforced across all the opportunes. That's actually something I don't know. I don't think you can do two opportunes with 220 bytes in each one. I think the amount of data is sort of split among all the opportunes. I might be wrong about that. But anyways, the idea here is that you will be able to essentially send a dust output in a transaction that has an opportune to the database, which that will be the payment to record the data in the opportune to the database. And then you can also send a similar transaction to it to read that opportune back out of the database into an on-chain transaction. And you'll have multiple blockchains with the ability to do that. So that's how you'll be able to pass data between blockchains using the pay to write database as an intermediary.
sweet, sweet. And I just pinned your video to the top of the chat for those people who are watching this video. You can go and check out his video on the pay to write database that you just put up. Was it yesterday, the day before?
Yeah, day before. Yeah.
Awesome. So, and that is also in the Telegram channel. So if you're part of the Telegram channel, you should be able to find that. Maybe you want to pin that in the Telegram channel for people too, Chris.
Yeah. I will drop that link in the Telegram channel.
It's already in there. Maybe you just want to pin it. Oh, you already got something pinned, don't you?
Yeah, that's some
Here,
good stuff.
I'll drop the link again in the Telegram channel.
Okay.
So it's at the bottom for anybody that's in the Telegram channel. Anybody watching YouTube, it is pinned to the top, and you can check it out. Go check out the pay to write database.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, let's wrap this up. Appreciate you making time, especially Stoyan. I really appreciate the work that you're doing on the NFT stuff and staying up so late. Love that you are working so hard to participate.
You're a rock star, Stoyan. All right.
Okay, guys. Well, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and end this stream, and
all right.
We'll call it a wrap.
We'll see you guys later. Bye, everybody on the internets.
See you.